The world is holding its breath. For months, eyes have been fixed on the obvious flashpoints: Ukraine, Gaza, the South China Sea. But in the shadows, far away from global headlines, another fault line is forming. One that could ignite a chain reaction unlike anything we've seen since the last World War. This is not the crisis you think it is. This is the flashpoint. No one else watching, the one that could silently pull the superpowers into direct confrontation and change the world forever. It begins quietly in a part of the world that most global audiences ignore, a region where ancient rivalries, modern ambitions, and raw power are colliding at dangerous speed. Intelligence reports from multiple nations have quietly flagged the same area again and again. Naval deployments are increasing. Satellite imagery shows unusual troop movements. Yet the public narrative remains calm. Governments downplay it. Leaders insist diplomacy is working. But inside closed-door meetings in Washington, Beijing, Moscow, and New Delhi, the alarm bells are getting louder. At the heart of it all lies a narrow stretch of water, one so strategically vital that whoever controls it controls the flow of global energy, trade, and influence. It's a choke point where two world systems meet. The locals call it home. The great powers call it leverage. In this single zone, American and Chinese interests collide. Indian influence is growing. Russian power is quietly testing limits. And smaller nations caught in the middle are rapidly choosing sides, some willingly, others under pressure. This is not about ideology. It's not about democracy versus authoritarianism. It's about control. Control of shipping lanes, energy routes, cyber cables, and the next generation of weapons that can strike from sea, space, and the digital realm. And right now, this flashpoint is being armed like never before. Military analysts describe it as a slow-motion countdown, a situation where one miscalculation, one drone crossing the wrong line, one fighter jet misreading radar could light the fuse. The U.S. has been quietly fortifying its bases across the Indo-Pacific, re-establishing presence in places it once left behind. At the same time, China has expanded its military footprint, creating artificial islands turned fortresses loaded with missile systems and airfields. Officially, both sides say it's for security and deterrence. Unofficially, they're preparing for dominance. What's emerging is not a traditional battlefield, but a layered chessboard that extends from sea to sky to orbit. India, long seen as the neutral player, is no longer staying silent. In recent months, its naval movements have shifted dramatically. Joint exercises with the U.S. Navy are now routine. Surveillance drones patrol contested waters. At the same time, back-channel talks with regional powers are redrawing alliances. India's message is subtle but clear. It will not allow any single power to dominate the Indo-Pacific. But there's another element most people are missing: the cyber dimension. Beneath the surface, this flashpoint is not just about ships and soldiers. It's about digital infrastructure. Fiber optic cables connecting continents run through these waters. Satellite relays, undersea listening stations, and artificial intelligence systems are monitoring every movement. The next war won't just be fought with missiles and jets. It will be fought in algorithms, data breaches, and electromagnetic warfare. Russia, while preoccupied elsewhere, is not blind to this. Moscow has quietly supplied new generation defense systems to regional allies and continues to use its intelligence networks to influence both sides. Every conflict is an opportunity. For the Kremlin, this flashpoint offers leverage against the West without direct confrontation. The more Washington and Beijing are distracted here, the more space Moscow has to maneuver elsewhere. Meanwhile, local populations are feeling the tension rise. Fishermen report naval patrols shadowing their routes. Cargo ships are rerouting to avoid risk zones. Insurance premiums for transport through this region have quietly tripled. Yet the official statements remain calm, the tone diplomatic. That calm is deceptive. It's the calm before a storm that no one wants but everyone seems to be preparing for. Behind the scenes, global intelligence agencies are trading warnings. U.S. satellites have detected new Chinese radar arrays. Japanese defense networks report electronic interference. Australian submarines are operating farther north than usual. Indian reconnaissance flights are quietly mapping maritime zones once left unmonitored. Every player knows what's at stake, but no one wants to be the one who blinks first. Experts describe the situation as pre-war tension disguised as peace, the kind of buildup that looks stable until it suddenly isn't, like Europe before. 1914. The alliances are tangled, the technology advanced, and the confidence dangerously high. Back then, a single assassination triggered a world war. Today, it could be a drone, a cyber attack, or a missile test gone wrong. Inside the Pentagon, simulations showed just how fast escalation could happen. A mid-sea collision, a retaliatory strike, a false radar reading within 72 hours, multiple nations could be drawn in. The speed of modern warfare leaves no room for hesitation. And with artificial intelligence now integrated into command systems, the line between human judgment and automated response is thinner than ever. Once the first shot is fired, algorithms could decide the next 100. China's strategy is clear. Expand influence without firing a shot, but be ready when one is fired. Its naval doctrine focuses on area denial, electronic warfare, and economic control. The Belt and Road Initiative wasn't just about trade. It was about building logistical dominance. Ports, railways, data hubs, all connected, all strategically placed. India and the West are now working to counter that with their own alliances, from the Quad to new Indo-Pacific economic corridors. The result is a world dividing into two systems again, not by ideology, but by infrastructure. The United States, while still the most powerful military force, faces a new kind of challenge, one where deterrence no longer guarantees stability. Its dominance was built on open oceans and global access. Now, new regional powers are testing that access, from the Red Sea to the South China Sea to the Indian Ocean. Washington's strategy is shifting from global intervention to selective presence. But every withdrawal leaves a vacuum someone else is eager to fill. As each side strengthens its hand, the risk grows that someone misreads the game. History shows that major wars rarely start with a declaration. They start with a mistake. A radar error, a commander's overreaction, a signal jammed at the wrong time. In today's hyper-connected high-speed battlefield, that mistake could unfold before anyone even realizes what's happening. Diplomats continue to speak of cooperation and dialogue. Conferences are held, agreements signed. Yet each year, defense budgets rise, missile systems expand, and military exercises grow larger. The global economy depends on these same waters staying open, yet the very powers that depend on them most are the ones building weapons to control them. It's a paradox the modern world can resolve prosperity tied to preparation for war. For now, the world watches the obvious crises. But the real danger may lie in the places we're not watching closely enough, in the small islands being fortified. The naval bases expanding in silence, the electronic warfare units training in the shadows. This is how global conflicts begin, not with a bang, but with a build-up no one takes seriously until it's too late. In the coming months, the signs will intensify. More satellite launches for communication, more naval drills for security, more diplomatic statements of peace, each one a piece of the puzzle, each one a step closer to the tipping point. And when it happens, it won't look like a classic war. It will unfold as a series of chain reactions, cyber disruptions, economic sanctions, proxy skirmishes, information warfare, until suddenly the line between peace and war no longer exists. The world will wake up one morning to find that deterrence failed, diplomacy broke, and a localized conflict became a global one. That's why intelligence communities are calling this region the world's real flashpoint. Not Ukraine, not Gaza, not Taiwan alone, but a convergence zone where all powers meet, all interests overlap, and all ambitions collide. The next world war won't start in the places we expect. It will start here, quietly, suddenly, irreversibly. And when it does, history won't ask who fired first. It will ask why no one saw it coming.